Thank you very much, Margaret.
That was the extended dance mix.
I thought it was great. I just love watching you up there dancing. Yes, exactly. So right off the bat, I wanna say the song that you're hearing is a song called Destination Saturn, and it's from Rod Moore and Brian Birch. They're actually downstairs, and they're from Canada, and it's their band called the Hang Ten Hangmen. So Brian and Rod, thank you for letting me use your song for my show.
Dionysus Records, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tonight, right off the bat, I want to say thank you all very much for coming out tonight. This means a lot to us. And I'll tell you what, I mean, when Ken here is the owner and would you say the creator of the magazine Exotica Moderne?
Yeah, curator, editor, the guy that slashes and stuff. That isn't good.
Yeah, exactly. And over to on my far left, what's that? I need to go up.
Mark.
Was that better?
Personalized service.
Perfect timing.
I'll tell you what, Mark, what did you do to get those free drinks?
I have my people anywhere I live.
So, Mark, you're all the way from Texas, right?
Houston.
Houston, it's so funny because I used to live in New York City. I used to call it was Houston Street.
Houston Street, yes.
Yeah.
So, I got it drilled into my head, and you came all the way up here. Mark, you're the cover of issue 3 is, you have it. That's your painting, right?
Yes, I own that piece. That was a critical element of my X-Bar, Howie's Tiki in Spring, Texas.
That's a shame. That's a
the
shame.
commission piece by Big Toe. People loved it. It was the centerpiece of that bar. But the good news is it's here for everybody to enjoy in person. Otherwise, you wouldn't see it.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I it's like seeing it in person. I'm like, oh my God, that's a very, very beautiful.
Just don't touch it.
No. Oh, actually, there's a big fingerprint. It's like
I can
the thing is,
imagine.
if someone did touch it, you can tell who it is because you can get a fingerprint.
There you go.
So let's
You
talk.
all will be fingerprinted by the end of the evening.
No, you're not. So, do you want to tell the people about your bar? It's shut down now, right? Howie's.
Yeah, so I sold the bar. We had a 3-year run. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about the business. I was passionate about my customers in there, having authentic, well-balanced tiki drinks with, premium liquor, house-made syrups, fresh juices. And I still am. I run another bar downtown. It's Tiki Light. But the good news is I can still make any of those drinks that we used to have at the bar. So anybody who wants to revisit that genre, we're ready to go.
Which I did, and the drinks were excellent.
Thank you.
We should have just stayed there all night.
No, that's a good thing. If you end up staying at the place all night, that means like success.
Yes.
Success.
Okay, well I'm curious. What is the tiki scene like down in Texas?
Well, good question.
Yeah.
So the tiki scene is still, how can I say, and I can speak to Houston specifically, where we have an established bar that's actually tonight's celebrating their 5 years, Lalo, in the Heights, and they're an amazing venue. They'll have it packed just like it is tonight here, and then from there though we don't have a lot.
They're spread out much like the large state of Texas.
Yeah, and as far as what we know as Tiki files, the legitimacy, the care, the craftsmanship of the cocktails is not too much. The other one that is very prevalent is up in Arlington called Four Kahunas, and those folks did a lot of research at my bar and also at Lalo before they went and opened. So they're doing very well up there. And there's some up and coming bars opening in Austin soon, and that will help round out the state, but not quite as developed as the Chicago, East Florida, San Francisco. It's still not there yet. So.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what I mean. Like living up here, I mean, I live in Seattle, but the best tiki bar in this area is here, the Devil's Reef. I mean, this is a 45-minute drive without traffic, and this is where you come. And I think most people, they would all agree with me. So finding a really, really good tiki bar is pretty hard to find. And the thing is, what I understand about Texas, it's like Houston is nowhere near Dallas, is nowhere near Austin.
It's a heck of a drive.
They're all 4 hours away from
They're all 4 hours away, so it's kind of like you're kind of stuck with what you had.
My wife and I visit Austin a lot. So if you really want a really good tiki drink in Austin, you go to the Roosevelt Room, which is really more of a classic cocktail bar. But their menu,
And that's not even a tiki bar.
no, but their menu is broken out brilliantly. It's broken down by era. So they have pre-prohibition, prohibition, Volstead Act.
Yes.
They call the 70s the Dark Ages.
The 70s were the dark.
And
Well, that's the truth.
They really do. On the menu, it says the Dark Ages.
You know, well, in my opinion,
you
the
get a chocolate
70s
martini or
are
something
the
like
Dark
that.
Ages.
And then
Period.
they have a full tiki section, and they are really, really good tiki drinks. Which
Awesome.
You're not going to a tiki bar. But Austin does have, we were talking about this earlier, there's a ramen shop called Ramen Tatsuya, voted the best ramen in the U.S. It's two Japanese brothers. Then they started Kamiri Tatsuya, and they're doing a weird fusion of Texas barbecue and Japanese food. And now they're opening Tiki Tatsuya, and they hired two of the bartenders from Three Dots and a Dash in Chicago.
No, wait, did they
Corey
move-
Starr
did they
and
move down
Sophia
there?
Alba have moved to Austin, Texas, and they're helping with Tiki Tatsuya.
Wow.
So it'll be a weird Japanese spin on Tiki, but everything that the two Japanese brothers do are just phenomenal.
That's awesome.
The food's fantastic, so I would bet the cocktails are going to be equally as fantastic.
That's awesome.
But we probably eat there 3 or 4 times every time we go to Austin. It's like my favorite stop to go to.
Yeah, and you live in Indianapolis.
No,
Not even Indianapolis.
No,
You
I live in South Bend, Indiana. Yeah, wastelands north in Indiana. Luckily, I'm close enough to Chicago and about 2.5 hours from Indianapolis, so I can hit Three Dots, Lost Lake, Halakahiki, which was built in 1962, and then the new Inferno Room down in Indy.
That's awesome. So, Mark, what's the future plans for yourself then?
Remains to be seen. I'm still very passionate about craft cocktails in the tiki realm and working on some new cocktails in that arena. I mean, I love rum. I love my favorites are to really have a pretty vast library about cocktail books, liquor books. And currently, there's just so much good stuff out there, and it really helps people pull it all together. So, I highly recommend Smuggler Cove's book.
Oh, yeah.
It's really where I tighten up all of my drinks that we had at Howie's. But, currently, there's 42 states that make rum in the U.S., and it's not going anywhere. It's a big deal. But not everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, especially in Texas, I run into a lot of people where they have an aversion to rum, primarily to bad experiences.
Yeah, I think that's everybody, like
And-
Bacardi, Sailor Jerry's.
Yeah.
I mean, even just thinking about those runs give me a headache,
Yeah, so my job is to get people back into it in a way that's enjoyable to them, and they're going to see what they were really missing through a balanced cocktail. That's all that really matters.
Awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, Mark, I'm not going to hold you back from your drinking any longer. Thank you so much
I've been drinking.
for coming up here
Does that mean
and
to
saying
go
if you...
down?
Oh, if you want to go back down and drink. Oh, wait, we got another...
No, I wanna-
Well, I have another guest coming.
Oh,
Okay, so he's kicking you out of here. Adios, and whatever. Something door in your ass.
No, we got to...
thanks for letting me know.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, hey,
Everybody, come on.
yeah, hey, Travis, can you pass this? This is to pay for some of my expenses to do this. So, I mean, if you want to throw something in, that's cool. If you don't want to, that's all right. So, before we bring up our next guest, I want to talk to you, Ken.
All right.
Mark, thank you so much for having us on, for coming on the show. So let me ask you, why did you decide to start a Tiki magazine?
At heart, well, there's probably really 2 directions that I took to get into this. I started in the I do design work for Michigan's 10th largest craft brewery.
Yeah.
I'm a designer at heart. I've been doing it for 30 years. So I kind of was the craft beer thing for a while. Then I kind of drifted into craft cocktails. I'm going to be 60 this year, and I still kind of remember my family hitting the supper clubs and the lounges and visiting down to Florida and seeing some of the floor shows and all that sort of stuff, and kind of absorbing a little bit of the tropical Polynesian vibe that those places had. So then I went from craft beer to craft cocktails.
Craft beer to craft cocktails.
Well,
Hey, that's a big difference.
You kind of an upward trajectory. And then my wife works for a spice company, and we
Thank you,
started
Jeff.
visiting a lot of high-end restaurants and cocktail bars, like Death and Company in New York. We went for the opening of Death and Company in Denver, and after playing with the standards of making a great Manhattan or Negroni or French 75 or something like that, I just realized that there was something interesting about tiki bars. I went to Holewczynski, and it's like, this is like a whole other world that I've just stepped into.
Holewczynski's awesome. Has anyone out there been to Holewczynski out in, what's it, River Grove?
It's in River Grove, just west of Chicago. Like I said, it was built in 1962. It's Chicago's oldest tiki bar. Original family's still running it. It's a maze that you walk through.
Yeah.
They just kept adding on to this house that they turned into a tiki bar.
A lot of Whitco.
Yeah. It's actually the U.S.'s largest collection of Whitco in one single location.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Sven Kirsten has documented that. They've got more Whitco carvings than anybody. So I stepped in there and it's like, hey, this is a great other world, and it kind of brought me back to my childhood and going to Florida. So fast forward a little bit to me working with the craft brewer and the cocktails and visiting cocktail bars, and I'm really kind of a publisher at heart. I spent 15 years in the comic book business doing illustrations and drawing comics, and I love to publish my own stuff. It's like, there's one part fear of rejection, so I'm not going to send my work to a publisher, and the other part is I'm just going to do this shit myself.
That's the way to do it, right? Seriously.
Right. I'm not going to get rejected. I'm just going to do it myself. So when I got into this, the previous Tiki-related magazine sort of just disappeared. I'm like, well, I got experience.
No, and
this.
the sad thing about the Tiki magazine is called Tiki Magazine and More. Well, it was going great, and then all of a sudden it literally just fizzled away.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people that are looking for that magazine, including myself, and then it's just gone.
Yeah. Which, as a matter of fact, I actually started off by designing mugs, and so I wanted to advertise.
House of Tabu, right?
House of Tabu. I wanted to advertise my mugs. I bought an ad in Tiki magazine, and a month later they're like, we're going on hiatus, and they
You're like, are you gonna get my money back or what?
never got my money back. So it's like, I can do this. I'll just do it myself.
Yeah.
So that's basically kind of my passion of design. I love mid-century modern design. I've always been a designer.
Yeah.
That whole era, I like playing with different design vernaculars for different eras.
Yeah.
I do a lot of work for other clients. If they want something from the 30s, I can kind of mimic that. 40s, 50s, 60s. But 60s and mid-century modern is really kind of my gig.
Let me ask you something. Well, obviously there's a connection between Tiki and mid-century modern.
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
I think it really... Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, it's
I will.
Yeah, you will.
No,
Get another
no,
drink
I'm
and
not.
they'll correct me a lot.
No, I'm not.
So if you start in the 30s, move up to the 40s, I mean, tiki bars are tiki bars. 50s is when advertising really kicked in.
Yeah.
60s kind of continued that trend.
Yeah.
The major hotel chains started picking up tiki, putting tiki bars in the hotels, and I think that's where it sort of blossomed.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of came aware of it. So those two things, the 50s, 60s, and that sort of marketing design, Mad Men era style design work, sort of started meshing with tiki.
No, that's exactly how it is. And the thing I realized with a lot of people that like Tiki, they like mid-century. They go hand in hand.
It's because it's cool and suave and swanky.
Guys, is Tiki
Much like
cool
the
and
jacket I'm
swanky or
wearing,
what?
right?
Yeah. No, and I'll tell you what, I mean, so Ken put a Facebook page out. You put a post out and you're like, hey, I'm thinking about putting together a Tiki magazine. Is there anyone out there who would be interested in contributing to it? And immediately like, oh, fuck yeah, I wanted to be part of that. Be part of a Tiki magazine. Because here's the thing. I'm a blogger normally, and I do YouTube shows. And the thing is, I think what's important is to have a document, a snapshot in time of what's going on as far as say Tiki's concerned.
And I design everything on my computer now. I'm a Mac guy. I draw on my iPad. I do everything. But when I sit down to read, I don't want to read on a computer anymore.
No, there's
I'm on it all day long. I really do not want to read on a computer.
A magazine, it's an artifact.
Yeah.
And then speaking of that Tiki magazine, I love looking at whenever I'm at someone's house and they have old back issues, it's so awesome because to me this is a document of okay, what was going on in Tiki in 2006. It's great.
Right.
So,
but I kind of shifted my focus on the magazine. I have some copies of Tiki magazine. They were probably 50% what's happening now and 50% history.
Yeah.
I'm not a historian on Tiki. That's been done by people more educated than me on the subject. I really want to just show what people are doing now.
I agree.
Current
I agree
artists
completely.
Now, this is why I like working with Ray. He's covering everything that people are doing: home bars, bars he's visited, artists, sculptors.
Yeah, and
I
anybody
really want to show off where this is headed to.
Yeah, and out there are people out there that have done posts done episodes, had people on my show. Thank you all. I really appreciate that. But speaking of contributors for a magazine, I have my good friend Jason Craig, who is an awesome writer. And I'm like, dude, you got to come on. You got to do this. You got to write.
This guy right
so
here.
come on up, Jason.
Woo! Oh, look at that. The Baja Hut.
Sorry to pull you away from your cocktail, Jason. So Jason
I
Craig.
thought you were like waiting on people back there. I didn't know what you were doing.
I am all over the place tonight, literally all over the place.
So Jason Craig is a friend of mine. I consider you to be one of my best friends. And just our love of Tiki, we end up hanging out. You live here in Tacoma, right?
Yeah, only give or take about 2 miles away from here.
Yeah, I think it's like 7 miles away.
Hey, Ray, before we go any further, can everybody hear back there? Okay, so we don't need to up the mics at all? You're all good?
We're all
okay.
good. So I have my blog. And Jason's like, oh, well, I've done some writing in the past. And I'm like, all right, well, cool. Well, if you want to contribute something for my blog, I'd love to have you. So Jason does a write-up. We go up to the Devil's Reef we didn't go to the Devil's Reef. We went to the Shameful Tiki.
Went to the Shameful Tiki for Samantha's birthday.
For Samantha's birthday.
My lovely Samantha in the back there.
And then, so you do a write-up for it. And I'm like, this is way better than anything I've ever done. I'm like, Jason, this is amazing. Like, this is great writing. So you've done a couple write-ups for me.
Yeah, we've done some stuff there. We've done something with the Fern Room. We've done something with the Dark Manor Inn.
Yeah. So when Ken was, because you were looking for contributors.
Oh yeah. Because I have to publishing. I'm doing quarterly, but it takes a long time to lay out a magazine. So I basically have to work 3 to 4 to 5 months in advance.
Yeah. So I'm like, Jason, you have to. You got to be a contributor for this magazine.
And you were consistent. You stayed on me.
Oh,
because
fuck yeah.
I wasn't sure if I really had something to say that people really wanted to read.
Yeah. So what was your first write-up?
The first write-up was an overview on TikiCon.
Yes.
Because TikiCon played really heavy in me deciding that Tiki was the thing that I was really into.
Yeah.
Like it took give or take almost 20 years for me to realize, hey, all these things I like add up to Tiki.
Yeah.
And the Tacoma Cabana and TikiCon were two of the major catalysts for me to realize Tiki lifestyle enthusiasm, that's where I want to be.
Yeah, exactly. No, and your write-up was incredible.
It was really good. I had to edit it a little bit.
It was too much.
Jason isn't afraid to write.
No. He has a fear of writing, but once he writes, it's like some
once
stream of consciousness thing.
Once you get me started, I keep on going.
Yeah, he's like that movie. So then you're the article in issue 3, the episode that you can buy issue 3 right now downstairs. And Jason, you're from Sarasota, Florida.
Yes, born and raised Sarasota, Florida until I was 17.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there was a little tiki bar there called...
There's a bar called the Baja Hut that was originated in 1954, and by the time I was in my more formative years, it was kind of that kind of semi-creepy dive bar out by the airport that shady stuff went on at, but it still existed.
Yeah.
It was full of, art students and other shady characters, but
Not that there's anything wrong with it.
but they've gone through a rejuvenation, and as I started reading about that online, I got more and more interested. So at the age of 45, I went in there for the first time a year and a couple of months ago. And between that visit and this last visit in December, world of change. They have done amazing things in there.
Yeah, it looks incredible. So Jason, here's the question I've been wanting to ask you, and I told you I've been asking you about that. So Jason's been putting the idea together of We Shall Tiki. So what's We Shall Tiki about?
See, Ray, I've been trying to come up with an answer for this, and the answer is I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it entirely. It's just that throughout my life, whenever there's something that resonates with me, something that I find meaningful, I want to get other people interested in it. I want to be an ambassador for it.
Yes.
So wherever I can contribute, I don't sculpt, I don't paint, but now and then I put words together in a pretty pleasing manner, and people seem to like it. So
absolutely,
if I can tell people what makes this important and special to me, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, how many people out there have met Jason? He's the man, right? Jason, you're a good guy and everyone knows it. So you actually had a logo made for...
Yes. Rob Kramer came up with a fantastic, I mean, absolutely amazing logo.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to do much more with it. Right now it's just sitting on my Instagram, but in the future I'm really hoping to do something more with that.
Well, actually, I did something more with it right now.
This is for you, Jason.
That's great. You see, when Rob came up with that, all I could think is, that's the guy I want to be. That's how I want to convey my enthusiasm for Tiki.
It's like a Roman banner unveiling.
Oh, that is beautiful.
That's really great.
And notice right here, my favorite mug, my Baja Hut mug.
Yeah.
Because as a kid growing up in Sarasota on AM radio, I would hear the Baja Hut song, their radio
It's
ad.
really rather annoying. I heard it on YouTube.
And the crazy thing about this, it makes it actually seem like you're a happy guy.
Yeah. Those of you that know me know that I can be a little bit on the moody side. But yeah, Tiki is something that brings me joy. So that's why I want to find a way to express that to other people.
Yeah, but that's actually what we're all trying to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
So-
I always take my passions and turn it into something productive.
Yeah, me too. And here's the thing, it's like I know pretty much everyone out there sitting there. You're all my ohana. And I appreciate y'all for coming out. So with that, aloha, mahalo, and good night. Thank you all for coming out. Much appreciated.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey gang, this is Tiki with Ray, and I just want to say thank you very much for checking out my video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to see more episodes, click on the subscribe button. And if you liked the video, give it a like. That would mean a lot to me. And if you have any comments or suggestions, please leave a comment in the comment section below.